Yes, sir. This is another episode of Good Earners reviewing The Sopranos. I am Maurice Hunt III.
And I am Spike Lou.
And here on this show, we like to review The Sopranos and give you a whole different perspective. We like to operate within the mind of Tony and not so much on the outside resources. We like to really get engulfed in this mafia world, this thing of theirs. So we are here today. Spike, you want to give them synopsis of today's episode?
Absolutely. This is episode 5, College. In this episode, Tony and Meadow hit the road for a Northeastern college tour as Tony and Carmela try their best to keep Meadow to stay close to home for college and not go out to the West Coast. While on the road, Meadow asked Tony about his chosen career, in air quotes, as Tony tries to keep it as real as he can. However, he runs into an old associate on the road that makes it pretty clear to Meadow who and what her dad is. Meanwhile, back at the crib, Carm nurses a cold at home with the Fanute priest, as Tony calls him, and she finds out that Dr. Melfi is a woman. This is episode 5 of The Sopranos, Good Earners College.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right. You ready to
So
get into it?
let's get into it, man. The show starts with Tony and Meadow talking about the college she just visited. Tony and Meadow out on a road trip, as I said in the synopsis. She asked Tony why didn't he finish college, and he gives kind of a half answer. I went to these 2 years at Seton Hall or whatever it may be. But what stuck out to me in this scene, Mo, was he talks about how working class he views himself and his family. Do you see Tony as a working class man? We went over this a little bit before.
The concept is it's a
In
little
his head,
murky.
he is.
It's very murky because I, there is work. Like there's work there, contrary to belief of these guys chilling, drinking their espressos and tea at outside of the shop. But I mean, sure, in his head, he's a working class man. But I think he said 2 semesters at Seton Hall,
Not 2 years, yeah.
So I just thought that was an interesting little tidbit. I think little small stuff like that is like because it makes you think, okay, where did he veer off into this thing of ours? Like, where did he veer off? So how far did he take it on the legit before he said, all right, I'm out. I don't have the makings of a varsity athlete. You know what I'm saying? Like, so getting that Seton Hall little tidbit right there, I thought was an interesting piece of information. Do you look at him as like a working class man?
I think Tony blue collar. I think that's what he was leaning towards. He ain't like, and we see this in the episode where he tried to hang out with Kuzumata, try to change his profile a little bit.
Okay.
He is a blue collar guy, work with your hands type of person. That's the mentality that he has. So I understand where he's coming from, though his lifestyle may not necessarily represent that, and I don't think that he sees or knows that. But I get where he's coming from as far as the blue collar, just because he doesn't fit in with the other crowd.
What did you think about the Meadow bad pregnancy joke about
Um,
contraception?
yeah.
She got mad comfortable.
I mean, she a junior in high school. I wonder what he think that, like, he kind of looking at her like his little girl still. However, he does, as we get into, share some information on the next scene. He kind of tells her, she asked him, is he in the mafia? And he kind of gives her a vanilla answer.
Vanilla.
It speaks, very vanilla. As far as, well, some of my money is illegal. He finally admits to. But I say that to say, on the question that you asked me, yeah, he lies to her a little bit because he's trying to maintain her innocence and keep her as far away from what he is as possible, is how I take it.
I think there's that reminiscent aspect that we've spoken about on previous episodes, the end at the end, but also like just the childhood thing of, knowing that, I could have sold patio furniture. You know what I'm saying? I could have done something else legit. But even though I played sports, even though, my parents may have tried to keep me away from these things, I found my way here. So now I'm in the same scenario, and I want to shield Meadow and AJ as much as possible from this life. I don't want you guys nowhere involved. But if we're into the next scene, the look on his face, I damn near need to make a meme, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that she just came out and just asked, like, "Dad, are you in the mafia?" What made her just come out and say this? Like, was she frustrated with like the pandering or the lying or whatever? Like, what was this? Like, because it just seemed like she just came out with it from nowhere. Like,
Um,
you know what I mean?
she said it was online. It's in school. People are talking about it in her age group. I think the inclination was she's of the age now where you can't really hide it from her. She has her own
Um,
social circles. She's going off to college. So this kind of adds to her growing up a little bit. And it's not one being so oblivious to what Tony does, and two, growing into being a woman and him having to have those conversations with her for her protection. Because people are going to start, like she said, in school, people in school are talking about it. It's online. She sees it on the internet.
mm-hmm.
So she is growing into herself as a woman and trying to figure out what's really going on.
Mm.
So I understand it, especially on this road trip. It was a perfect place to throw this in because
Do
it's
you
showing her growing up.
Okay, so this is like a pivotal transition
Yeah.
for her early in her character arc. Uh,
Right.
I was gonna ask, would you put Meadow in the top 5 most honest people in the lying world of The Sopranos?
Um. Hmm.
This is gonna be an interesting list by the time we're done with this series because
Yeah, I guess you would have to.
Okay, so right now
Yeah.
she would be kind of somewhere in the top 5,
Yeah, yeah.
the least
She keeps it pretty
liars.
real, right? Yeah, yeah. She
Yeah.
keeps it pretty real. Cause she ain't really I think the people that lie in this show they're protecting stakes. She
Oh,
don't
okay.
really have a lot of stakes in anything in the show. She just kind of a character, like she is kind of the moral compass of the show.
Mm,
Kind of keep everybody like, I know this shit is strange. Like this mafia shit isn't normal. She's like kind of the civilian of the show.
hmm
However, she knows what's going on. So I think that her lies are kept to a minimum because of that. Like she doesn't have a lot to protect.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
From
Um,
there, we go ahead.
I did want to add a few more things. Sorry, here. The fact that like Tony is so legit on the lie. He says that Dr. Cusimano goes out at 3 a.m. to deal with a patient, and then
Mm-hmm.
she goes into this story of how they found $50,000 in Cougarans, which is a South African gold coins, and a 45 automatic while Easter egg hunting.
Mm.
Like, Dad, we're not normal, bro. Stop
That's
it.
the lifestyle.
I'm
Yeah.
sick of your shit. Like that's I come on, bro. Like I just thought
Yeah.
I thought that was like a funny shouts out to David Chase though, those intimate details about something is hilarious. I think about the bird feeder later on. That kind of made me think about the bird feeder a little bit. But that's it on that scene. I just wanted to throw that funny little tidbit there.
Yeah. She did hit him with like, I know, right? We move on to Tony at the gas station having issue with the Guma. She's talking about how her cousin with the one leg is getting married
Svetlana.
already. Yeah,
Mhm.
a little seed drop there that we'll visit later on in the series. But do you think that Tony is telling this woman that he's gonna marry her?
You
Because
know,
she seems to believe it.
yeah, but she has a level of delusional. She has this thing that I feel like, women that are on the side, they have this weird hopefulness that you are going to be the one chosen when, as you just said before, they have the least amount of stake with you. This is all that you're actually getting. You're giving your all, and they're only giving you this. I think there's that misconception that I feel like those participants on the side of somebody with a full blown relationship, they have a misconception on how much this person is invested. I've made time for you, but I'm not going to make more than what I'm making. Tony's not giving her more than he's willing to do. When you got downtime and the business is running and the family's good, all right, Irina, I'll pull up on you. You know what I'm saying? But I think that she just has this misconception. She's in America now. She's got a blue collar man, Italian guy. He's a guy of stature and importance. Maybe he's sexy to her. You know what I'm saying? And I think she just has a delusional idea. I don't think Tony is saying I'm going to leave my wife. I think he
So you
even
think
said that.
his more about her character than his.
Yeah, I
It's how
think
delusional that she is.
absolutely. I don't even know what that and I'm throwing it back in your court, but because I think he said I told you about my wife and kids, like I told you, you know what I'm saying. So,
Mm-hmm.
but do you think otherwise? You think Tony's finessing and lying like everything else?
I wouldn't think him to be that, but I always found it interesting that she says that there as if he led her to believe that. And I just don't think that we've ever seen that out of Tony's character. He's pretty straightforward as he can be.
Mm-hmm.
I would never think that he intended to leave Carmela for this lady. So I'm wondering where she got that from. But you calling her delusional makes a lot of sense, and that plays into her character. So it is more her delusion than Tony presenting the idea to her. That makes sense to me.
A few seeds there that I don't know if some of y'all that are watching. But the leg thing, obviously, she's an amputee, you know what I'm saying, which we know Svetlana later on, she'll be a character on here. But not only that, but she said she lost her leg at the Gap store, like in like a white satin armor, which is the name of a future episode, which I thought was really dope. I was like, white satin armor, which I think that's a season 2 episode with it's actually a very significant episode, but I'm not gonna spoil nothing here at this moment. But so yeah, they definitely, that white satin armor, y'all keep an eye on that because that's gonna be a super pivotal episode in season 2.
All right, we'll stay with that. From that same phone booth, Tony hangs up with the delusional side piece and he gets on the phone with Carm, who's sick. She's at home nursing a cold, flu, or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's speaking to Carm, he sees someone that he thinks he may know, an old friend of theirs, per se. What's this guy's name? Did you write his name down? I didn't write his name down.
Febby, which is I think short for. Let me see where I wrote this down. I think
they said his full name in here somewhere.
Yeah, they did.
So we'll get to it when we go to it because he had to switch it out for a fake name with the same initials. But Tony sees this guy. Tony thinks he recognizes this guy as someone who turned on the family to go into the witness protection program. So he runs off. He goes on this whole car chase thing with Meadow.
Fabian. His name is Fabian.
Fabian. Yeah. So as Tony goes, this scene was always stuck out as weird to me because he goes over and beyond when she asks about the mafia. However, I'm willing to go on this weird car chase with this stranger and my daughter in the car. Like, what happens when you catch him? Like, I always thought, like, what happens if you had caught this dude and Meadows in the car? So this scene never really made sense to me, other than I guess driving the fact home to Meadow that whatever he tells you is not really true. Yes, your dad is the monster that you think he is. Did you get something different from that?
You know what? I didn't even think about that. You're absolutely right. Cause it's like, I don't know. I don't know if he was necessarily trying to catch the guy and like, like the first episode, the pilot. Like, I don't think he's gonna, like, in the middle of it, like, where's my money, prick? Like, I don't think he's gonna do that in front of Meadow. I think he's trying to ID this guy ASAP. But the problem is you spooked the witness.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You can't even even if you do catch him, like you say, you're trying to get your eyes on him, he noticed this person erratically following behind me. And I'm sure he's a paranoid motherfucker if he up there hiding from the mob. So that's going to stick out to him. I just never really, I write the place down, give him to Chris and keep it moving. I didn't understand the chase part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe for what is it called? Building suspense?
Yeah, I think so. And then, we remember the first episode. Tony lives for these things. Like, I think because even when he's driving, he's smiling again. It's the Tony smile he does. I know that funny smile that Tony does, just like he did in the pilot. He lives for these moments. And now Meadow, this is like the first the first like tidbit of, okay, she's about to start getting on my nerves. Because
because of what she.
She
was within reason though. Like, dude, what are you doing?
She was.
Like, what the fuck is going on?
Like, she
was. Out of nowhere, you chasing this car. You just told me you only did waste management, bro. Like, what's up? Like, what? Why are we chasing this car in the middle of fucking Maine?
He told her like he was in the mafia, Jace. Like,
I collect money or some shit like that
illegally. Like illegal. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but I again, this just goes to show, like, you brought up a good point with the instinct, the mafia instinct that Tony has, and that answers your question to the beginning in the Seton Hall tidbit. Like, this is just in him, dude. There
Yep.
was never a chance that he was going to be legit. He was born this way, like the mafia culture. He lives for this shit.
Yeah, he do.
And even we see it at the end of he and Melfi's session when she finally realized, oh, like this nigga is just a gangster.
Yeah.
Ain't no helping him. It ain't no social. Like, I'm just a gangster, dude. This is what I do. So yeah, a good point there as far as that. And going back to that first scene, like, I just live for this shit. I'm just a gangster, I suppose, is the line.
And you remember a scene later on with Chris and Tony. They kept reliving that same little robbery of stealing that wine. Like they
love that shit. Yeah,
because it's like the monotony of the regularness of being a mobster, or just the other side of the mobster lifestyle. It's like, this is boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that Chris line, the regularness of life, the mundaneness of it. Like, that's a deeper conversation when we get there. But yeah.
Thanks. All right, so after Tony spots the guy to go on that brief car chase, Tony gets on the line with Christopher. Christopher needs to trace these plates. Tony lets Chris know who he thinks this guy is and gives us a breakdown of the scenario. Anything stick out to you in this scene? It's just pretty much straightforward.
Chris, this is starting to propel Chris forward as far as, get it done. I like now we're getting the ball rolling on one of the best characters of the show, Christopher Moltisanti. We're getting the ball rolling. He's like, man, it's raining outside. I don't care if it's raining outside, bro. Like, let's get it done. Get these numbers. You know what I'm saying? So I just like that little tidbit. And you would think Chris is going to be a diva about it, but you see him later on, and he gets it done. You know what I mean?
He was a diva about it, though. Nigga, it's raining. Get the fuck out of here.
He was, but like,
fuck out of here. Raining, nigga. Shut up.
Yeah, he was, but I know that there's a favorite scripture, but it's like, would you prefer the person to tell you yes and then not do it, or the person to tell you no and then do it? You know what I mean? I think it's that kind of concept where it's like, I don't feel like it, but they still get it done. So I think there was some diva-esque, some entitlement there, but he feel like he LeBron James rookie year, like low key. Like, I should have been made then and there. Like, you know how I feel.
The crazy thing is, he Ricky Davis. He not LeBron James.
Man.
Christopher
Ricky Davis is crazy.
Yes. Because Ricky Davis, when he came in, he thought LeBron was there to help him. It's a famous line that they go, how do you think LeBron James to the team or whatnot? And he was like, yeah, man, he should be a good addition, be able to help me out, get to what, like,
he's the franchise.
Read the room, my nigga.
Boy, that's crazy. Yeah.
Facts. So we go to there again. Carmen's sick. She's sitting there chilling. AJ fixes her an egg that's supposed to be poached. That ain't a poached egg at all. And she lets AJ go to his friend's house and play Nintendo, and she can see he clearly does not want to be there taking care of her. Anything stick out to you?
I feel like she's sowing the seed here. She had ulterior motives, and this is where it begins. I don't even know if she's as sick. I don't know, bro. I don't even know if I think she might be like when you on the last leg of sick, where you really good, but you kind of, I'm gonna ride this last day out just in case something kind of, it just comes off like that to me, because she all wrapped up and stuff, and then all of a sudden, when the later guest arrives, you fix yourself up. We didn't get no coughing, no sneezing, no blowing your nose. We didn't get nothing of that. So I honestly believe this is the minute she said, why don't you go over to your friends? Yeah, I definitely, because AJ is still in that punishment bag for the fights. So he's not, I imagine the best behavior AJ can be on, he's doing whatever she needs, and he's just staying out of the way. So he's not really getting on her nerves. So you're setting up this play here. Like, that's what it came off to me.
I guess that speaks to my gullibleness, because I totally thought she was sick. I've never thought that. So to be clear, you're saying that she didn't go on the road trip with them. She sent AJ away. She faked the sickness and invited the priest over there. You think that she set all of this up?
No, I think that the plan of, I think she was sick, but I'm saying, like, the plan of, this will be a good opportunity to
some alone time with
the Yep.
Get out.
Yeah, right here.
Out there. I don't take Carmella as being that thought out or malicious yet.
Well, think about it, bro.
There is a scenario where this comes up, and now that okay, so did you say that? I think that you're saying that in preview. because there is a scenario where this does happen, and she is very manipulative with someone who could benefit her and AJ. And we'll speak about, not to be, I don't want to spoil it or say anything, but however, I do think in that scenario, you would be 100% right. As she was laying the pieces down, she was more seasoned in the game at that point.
Yeah.
I don't like, but I just take her as the stay-at-home Italian wife who's kind of oblivious and kind of isn't. You are looking at her as being very malicious if you think she set this thing up, though.
Well, and it's not so much like she's trying to create some kind of intimacy. I'm not going to go that far per se. I mean, my first watch, I definitely thought that, but I'm saying like there's this yearning for something else. Like just like Tony, I feel like with Carmela, there's this yearning for something else.
Yeah, I don't deny that. I just don't know if it's like overt as I'm going to set this up to see if I get a move made on me.
I don't know.
I don't know, but because there is a scene that we could talk about later.
You remember the painter?
You could possibly be right. Yeah.
You remember so that's what I'm saying. And then the other mob guy that comes in later.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I feel like there's always like, oh, wait a minute, you know, I'm gonna see where this goes. Like I'm a person who's been in a relationship and has put myself in this place before, just kind of not being a great boyfriend. Like I'm not gonna go all the way, but I'm gonna kind of create some like opportunity for something to get my ego off. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like and
you think that's what she's doing to kind of get some vengeful shit at Tony.
I think it's just I want to feel that feel of being wanted and desired. I'm just gonna see where it goes. Because I feel like there's a level of disappointment later on as we progress through the episode.
Definitely so. But I think that developed later on, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. So yeah. Interesting. From that scene, Chris calls Tony back. He has an update with the tags. He tells him about the guy that's on the lamb that he thought he saw. Chris wants to get his stripes, come up here and get it done. Tony tells him to hold back. Meadow sees Tony on the phone and she questioned him about what's going on, bro. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You out here in the middle of the night on the phone. We did car chases. Again, you told me you weren't in the mob. I think that they're really hammering home the obviousness of the lie in the first scene and how Meadows at her big age now has to digest, okay, he is in the mob. This dude is really, like I said before, a gangster. Do you think that that's what their aim is here?
Yeah, I think she just wants, again, yearning for something else. This is another, I think it's going to be a reoccurring thing. She's okay with what her family is, but she has such a disgust with her about her mom. At least you don't lie about it like mom. Tony lies about everything. But for whatever reason, she has such a disgust with her mom lying about him being in the mafia. So I think they are trying to hammer it home because now they're creating a level of complexity in Tony's family. Like, okay, Meadow kind of knows. So Carmela knows some up to a degree. AJ really doesn't know still, even though we know about, the previous episode, I believe, Meadowland. So I think they're trying to create these little ways to move us closer to an interesting plot line with this part of his family.
Okay.
But my question, where was not AJ, Chris, where the hell is your umbrella, bro? Y'all are so gangster.
Umbrellas, bro.
Man, come on.
You got an umbrella?
You don't?
No. I don't like
bro, that's like not having insurance. Like what?
It's not. Why? I don't know. I wouldn't. Again, I guess you said it's rain and it's pouring down that you would come out of that. You would purposely grab one then. But I don't stay prepared with one. You stay prepared, like you stay strapped.
No, because the issue is it's like you can never really be ready. Right? That's the problem with having an umbrella though. Like if you might have got dropped off. Okay, you ain't got your car now. If you got dropped off, you don't have your car.
Where you gonna keep an umbrella at, though? If you got dropped off,
that's the problem.
Walk around with an umbrella.
That's the problem. That's why you can't never be fully. But if you in your whip, it's right. Like I just keep it on the passenger, little corner part of the seat down there, or if it can fit under, boom. You can really keep it in the trunk. The little small ones are not really that great, but you can keep a little joint like that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you kind of got to live in a climate where it's more rainy. So I guess I get it.
Yeah, I'm doing that light sprint. Like,
but he was in a Bada Bing though. Like he in a Bada Bing, you ain't got nothing.
It should
like
be one by the
a newspaper, right, anything, 100%. Bro.
It should be right there by the door.
Yeah,
I agree with that. All right, from there, where are we at?
We
AJ
had
fixes Chris. Okay.
mhm.
The Fanute priest. I'm gonna go on and say his name now. I've been calling him Fanute. So Father Phil.
You know what Fanuc
Father
is?
Phil, gay, right?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just
I
making
know
sure.
it.
All
I
right.
mean, Tony said it. I didn't. I'm not on
Right,
this. So
this is
don't
direct quote
get
from
the Alphabet Mafia mad at me. I'm just
Alphabet
quoting
Mafia.
Tony
Hey,
Tony
please,
Soprano.
please.
Right. So I Father Phil, he shows up to the Soprano home.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, I thought that Carmela was surprised that he was there. I don't think this was a scheduled visit. I didn't think that she was, had this on the date book for him to show up and tell her that he's yearning
Mm-hmm.
for some of her famous baked ziti with the
Mm-hmm.
crushed red peppers, Carms baked ziti.
The big ziti.
You think differently from me in this scene, so I would like to hear your thoughts on the priest showing up because you think that this was planned. I
Now
thought that this was just random.
you're right. I gotta get out of theory land here. I gotta get out of theory land, y'all. Sorry, I'll be in theory land. But yeah, it looks genuinely like she was surprised. I don't know. Maybe it was just some kind of alone time. I don't know. I just feel like she was trying to have some kind. I don't know what she would have done in her alone time, but I feel like she definitely wanted to have some alone time. I don't know.
Oh, so you just think she didn't want to go? It ain't that the priest was going. You just think she didn't want to go on a trip with Tony and Meadow?
No. I think she was sick. I'm saying from the moment he brought the poached egg, the not so poached egg in, I think from that point, I think she was making a plan.
Oh, okay,
here
she's looking for a break. Gotcha.
Yeah, but it could be convenient to the plot line too. So I'm maybe I'm in theory land, y'all. Y'all leave a comment, man, or some good earners, man. Come on.
Okay. All right. So he gets some of the baked ziti going. She puts it in the oven. We go out with Tony and Meadow to dinner. He's telling her
what was Father Phil's intent here? We know he just pulls up randomly. What was his intent here on a rainy night like this?
He's a leech.
Okay.
This nigga coming over there to eat free food, drink good wine, use Tony big dog stereo system. He probably drove by, saw Tony one day. Pull up. Tony ain't here, nigga. I'm finna leech it out.
Okay. All right.
I don't even think that it's a sexual thing for him because he may be the Fanute priest for all I know. They never really clarified it. But I don't even really think this is a sexual thing for him, which adds to the irritation later of Carmela. She understands, this motherfucker using me for this, just the surroundings, to be as close to the fire as he can.
Yeah, you know what?
I think he's just a leech, man.
Okay, which is funny. He goes into that, which is great, right, about David Chase. But it's so funny because my first time ever watching the series, it was just such a misread. Like I missed all of the notes, But now you're absolutely right. Like I don't think he ever had any intent, and we'll see that later with his dealings with other women. Yeah. So, but yeah, anyway,
weirdo, man.
Man, I can't wait till we get back to the cut, man.
All right, so he shows up. They go to ZD, and again, we're back at dinner with Tony and Meadow. They are thought to be having this intimate moment. Meadow wants to come clean, be honest with Tony, as he's been with her, she thinks. Mm-hmm. And she tells him she did speed. And Tony flips the fucking script. Mm-hmm. As a father would when his daughter is telling his 17-year-old daughter saying, hey, I tried speed. Where'd you get it from? Right. He gets in this bag. She pulls back. And right there, I feel like that was kind of the start of the danger with Chris and Tony. Because all it would have took was a slip of the tongue. And I think that Tony would have took care of Chris for this. Ooh. All it would have took is, I got it from Chris. Relax, Dad. It's over for Chris at that point.
Alternate universe, he's dead at first season
exactly. 1. And he's been on thin ice since then, dude.
Yeah.
And then Tony didn't know it and he didn't know it. Yeah. But I do think that was a great little come to the edge moment and bring it really back. What did you get from her telling Tony about the speed and his reaction?
His reaction is real. I like it. Again, there's that yearn for something else. It's like, I'm doing this thing as a mob boss, under boss. However, on the father tip, I don't got all the answers. I don't even feel necessarily all of the emotions I need to feel as a husband, as a father. Because we know Tony doesn't really feel like that. Like feelings, you know what I'm saying? So, but I do like that. Even though I don't have feelings, I have principles. You know what I'm saying? Like, that later line, at least you know where you stand with Tony Soprano. So he has principles when he doesn't have feelings. So in his head, computing the fact that my daughter did drugs, that principle is just not flying with him. You know what I'm saying? However, I like that they come to a conclusion, and I almost feel like low key, this is where Tony and Meadow begin to build a thing of theirs. They have now. I feel like this is where the bond of a thing of theirs becomes. We see a later scene of their connection, and I just always love this father daughter connection. You know, her acceptance of her daddy being as flawed as he is, and you know, vice versa with her. You know, so I love this scene. But you're absolutely right. Thin ice for Christopher right here. Woo, this is a close one.
Absolutely, man. That would have been over for Chris, like you said, in an alternate universe. Excuse me. From there, cutscene. We're back. The ZD is baking. The ZD's warm, in quotations. Carmela and the ZD are warm. Father Phil, he's there. They're checking out a good movie. The wine is flowing. She starts crying and shit. Well, she hasn't started crying yet. We kind of got into it a little quicker. However, is there anything more that you would like to add as far as them continuing to go back to this scene and continuing to set up kind of like this what's going to happen moment at the house? Like, where were you in this continuous checkbacks with this?
A very interesting format on this episode. You know, just like we talked about on the previous episode, them having a cold open one time ever. So it's like right here, interesting, the pan back and forth. I think they're trying to build both things into a arc and then a drop, you know. But we'll see one falls off the cliff quick, and then the other one, you know, reaches its peak, you know. So I think they're trying to build both of these stories towards something. And then I think, of course, once we get to the ending, it's kind of all just drops, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's a part of that. But this is where we get Carmela finds out Melfi's a woman, right? Or did they keep
not yet.
Okay, because I think I didn't. They chopped so many times. I kind of started to
I got it written down here. I think, but it ain't there yet.
Okay.
From here, we go back to Chris returning the information to Tony, and he said one of the great lines here. When it was raining and shit, we were talking about that, and Tony tells him, "You chose this life. You don't want to work in the rain. Play for the fucking Yankees." I think that was great,
man.
I think that was a great fucking line by Tony. It's always stood out to me. And again, speaks to, like you saying, being prepared. Chris taking that leap of being the guy that Tony can depend on, and how Tony feels about it. Like, bro, I need you. Like, I don't give a fuck about all that other bullshit, the heroin or whatever else you got going on. I need you. What'd you take from this?
Well, in Meadow, she goes and hangs out with
the college girls.
With the college girls, and Tony specifically said no drinking. So I just want to put that note there. But Christopher, there's not a weird thing, but a very artsy thing. We know they've kind of done a lot of art. They've done a lot of artsy things with Christopher Montesanti here throughout the series, because we know, earlier when he killed the guy in the butcher shop. But here, if you notice how the lightning is flashing, and then like the payphone, it's like dark, like nobody else is around.
It was good.
It was so epic. Like, I don't know what it was, but they're building such a great tension here. So
the cop car goes by.
Man,
that
was
really good shooting.
They were doing it great. And Tony's just in and out of, and if you notice, like, Tony's been in these dark spots and these light spots. I think that's kind of supposed to tie into the light side of Tony with Meadow and the dark side of the mafia stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much my take from it. We get the info and whatnot.
That's a good observation. We go back to the house. I'm wondering, and I put in my notes here for this scene. I'm wondering, because it kind of looks like that Father Phil is skirting this line, and he's wondering, has Carmela figured him out? Did she realize that he's a fucking leech, that he's here for the wine and the fucking ZD and the movies and the comfortable life? Did you take anything from that scene? Like, did you think that he was thinking that? Because there was this weird look on his face as they started to have these conversations, like, oh shit, she might be able to figure me out.
Yeah, it's so weird kind of how obvious he was, because maybe he wanted to get ahead of it, because I mean, he is a priest, and I'm sure he got to answer for everything. So I don't know if Carmela, I think Well, my question back to you: do you think Carmela picked it up that he was, but she had different intentions?
Nah, I think she
Nah.
was oblivious. I think she
Oh, she
think a
really?
man's a man. She think
Okay.
that eventually he'll. I think that she's thinking at that point that he's there for her, as a woman would. She's
Okay.
like, I like she's thinking like she not even. I don't even think that she's processing that this motherfucker's elite shit. I don't think that she actually gets that until later. But I
It's a
think that she's thinking that he's there for her and he'll will eventually try to make a move.
it's a weird thing because he's in a weird place. It's like, okay, well, he's not gay, he is straight, but he's not trying to come at you. And then so what is his intent? You know what I'm saying? So we know,
Leash.
but it's just a very interesting space for him to be in. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. All right. As that's going on, Dr. Melfi calls the house. She also is sick. And Carmela wonders who this is. And, she's clearly been in this situation before where some of his kumas have called the house. And that's what she mistakes it for. Dr. She tells Dr. Melfi that she will stick the message up his ass or something to that nature. Dr. Melfi is clearly taken aback from this.
Yes.
Why do you think Tony lied about his therapist being a woman?
Maybe it's to assert a certain power.
Tell me more.
Maybe I'm I'm the mob boss. I run this family. This is how things go. This is how things go. Don't ask questions. This is what I'm doing. I'm telling you I'm going to therapy. I asserted, I got ahead of and told you I'm going to therapy. I'm working things out. You know how in a mob I feel like they're like, I got a guy. I got a guy that can fix. I got a guy that can fix. I think that a part of a certain power, but then a part of it is just like there's a vulnerability, and I know that this could affect Carm in a different way. I feel like I'm not saying Tony's that intelligent in that way, but I do feel like there's a part of that, like if Carm knew that I was going to see her, either one, she gonna think I'm having sex with her, or two, she won't appreciate that I'm talking to another woman about her. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking because that's gonna come up. What do you think? I mean, what do you think? Why you think he didn't tell her that?
As men, sometimes we do that, right? Like you're not really malicious in your lie. You just don't want to explain it, or you don't have an explanation, and how your woman is. Yeah, some of that like, oh yeah, I was just over here. When in actuality, you weren't anywhere doing nothing bad. There's nothing to lie about, but you just don't want to explain yourself.
But it can become.
I think this was
and
I think it's one of those situations. And again, he may not be truthful with himself either about why that's a woman, which we get into later. Or I don't know if we've already gotten into it, but Dr. Melfi asked him, "Why did you choose me as a therapist?" And it's because she's the strong Italian, complete opposite of Carmela. It reminds him a little bit probably of his mom. It reminds Gloria.
Maybe the idea of what
that he could have versus what Carmela is. So I think subconsciously there is a reason that he lied, but I think on Front Street, like he just lied because of some of what you said. I don't want to disappoint her. I got a history of, cheating or whatever it may be. So he just doesn't want to go more deep into it on the surface. But I do think there's a subconscious thing there as to, he knows that she'll be jealous and the reasoning that he did pick her.
That's good. And we do get, put it on our chart here, another set of Melfi legs here.
Yes, we do. We do get the Melfi legs in this episode. That's a fact. From there, Tony spies on the family of the snitch guy. He's looking to make his move. He's plotting out the land and the line in his element, doing what Tony does, gangster shit. You get anything from this?
Again, he's walking
as a passerby season.
Yeah, just
a light stuff.
Yeah, he just a light stuff. He just got the drop on Febby.
Yeah, Febby, that's his name. I can always write it down. All right, so we go back. Cam and Dr. Phil, Carmen, Phil again. Now, since we keep cutting back here, it's post phone call. She realizes that Tony's therapist is a woman. So this is where the malicious intent starts to creep in because she has that information now for me. Now she's kind of more malicious with it. And okay, so this motherfucker's doing this. I'm going to go ahead and full court press it with the priest over here. Did you think that anything would happen between these two at any point in time in this episode?
Well, I'm sorry. There was something the scene before. Not trying to step over you. Febby, I thought about. I said he probably was a pretty good mob guy before he became snitch because somebody spying on you, you are fully exposed, ass out, nigga. Like, and you just are picking. I mean, the dogs are barking, but you're just. I feel like he just has a sense of somebody's watching me, and the way he was going through this episode, like he was a worthy villain to me. Like, I don't know if people give him credit enough like that. Shouts out to the actor, but I just thought that the way he got up and he was looking around, and he immediately, you know, we're gonna see what goes on later. But I just thought he was worthy. I thought he made me feel like, okay, this guy was probably a good mob guy before he turned snitch. You know what I'm saying? But back to the scene you were saying. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I thought that spoke to how his lifestyle is. Betraying the mob. I think he's like that all the time. He's always on guard, dog bark randomly. So squirrel goes by, he wondering what it is. Like, I think that's the kind of position that he put himself in.
The snitch lifestyle.
But go ahead.
But so you were saying we were over here to. So you said this is where the seed begins for Carmela.
Yeah, I think this is where Carmela is now. It's not just the cute priest is over here now. That I find out that Tony is seeing a woman as a therapist, and I have some more malicious intent on my mind versus just letting the priest leech off me or wherever he's trying to take it. I don't care where he's trying to take it. I'm taking it to here now. I think this is where that creeps in for Carmela.
I do want to say this too. I agree, and I think with Father Phil, there's this thing I think he's doing too. So, you know, he's a priest, and you know it's fine to drink, but he's overindulging. But I think that he's finessing the indulge by staying busy with other things. Like, and again, Carmela is probably the last one to judge him, you know, based on their lifestyle. But I feel like there's this weird thing as a priest, he's floating through, like, I'm getting drunk, because I think this is glass number 3, like, as if I'm keeping count here. So, which we'll see how that kind of pans out. But he's drinking a lot. He getting to it, bro. So I just think there's this weird thing he's doing where he's keeping himself kind of covered in a certain way, but
doing his priestly duties while getting lit.
Exactly, bro. You hit it right on the nail. I couldn't get it out, but yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. Definitely one of my least favorite characters. He might be even over the Phils that we run into. He may be my least favorite Phil, and that's saying a lot.
Oh man, I hope your mind changed about Phil this year. I mean, this. I
ain't mad at Phil. That's what I'm saying. This dude may be my least favorite Phil. The other Phil, I ain't.
Oh, okay. You just didn't care for him.
Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't that bad. Okay. Actually, we'll get to that a lot.
Okay.
Later, but yeah, I ain't really mad at Phil.
He definitely my least favorite.
Yep. The guy checks in, see has anybody been looking for him, wondering, like you are speaking to. We get to see him now go back into his mafia bag, try to cover his trails, and wonder, hey, what the fuck's going on? Something doesn't feel right to him. So he's kind of setting up for what may be coming to him. Anything from that other than him just laying the groundwork, preparing from something that may happen to him, thinking that something different is going on? You kind of just spoke to it. So you have anything else to add to it?
Yeah, just again, like I said, he's a worthy opponent, but I like that it wasn't it's kind of like poor him, this snitch. We got the drop on, we're gonna get him out of here now. I like that he was fighting back. I like a back and forth game like basketball. I like some overtime. I like to see both teams going back and forth. Like, so I like the idea of I'm not just on defense, I'm on offense, nigga. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? And he got to keep it light on what he's looking for. He can't say quite what it is. So he's still operating from the mafia code in the snitch life. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add to it right there. Shouts out to Febby, man.
All right. And now we are back in the fucking living room with Father Phil and Carmen. Now she breaks down and says, I need a confession. Well, he actually convinces her that she needs a confession, and they can do it anywhere, he says, quote unquote. But they turn their backs to each other, and she talks about the confession, breaks into tears. And this is when I think that Carmela's in her full bag.
Okay.
Wanting to be comforted, trying to push his senses to man mode versus priest mode and comfort her and take the next step and go ahead and get it done. I think that she's fully full on flirting with him right now, and she's hiding it behind needing him for confession and her tears. Do you read that differently?
Nah, I mean, she's there. I mean, look at the movie scene. You know what I mean? Look, you look at the movie
Mm-hmm.
scene. I don't know what movie this was. I wish I would have got it in my notes, but I just kept flowing with the episode. But whatever this guy has in his hand, I don't know if it's a book or some kind of important documents. The lady that is talking to him wants to see it. It seemed like she has like so the guy seems like he's trying to hold up a certain level of resistance while letting her have her way with the document or whatever it was that he had in his hand in the film. So I feel like that's like kind of what I think Carmela was going for, trying to have a level of resistance. But if it goes there, letting him, Father Phil, have his way with her, you know what I'm saying? Just like the film. So I feel like I agree with you. The it was set up here, but I do think that that was a perfect way to use that to say something else. So I definitely think that's what it's here for.
That's a good observation. From there, Meadow is drunk, and Tony has to take her back to the room. And in the process of doing that, ex-mob guy kind of has gotten in front of Tony. Tony doesn't even realize it, as far as, you're no longer hunting me, like you said. I'm hunting you. I'm on offense, as you said. And he has a chance to take Tony out. He has a chance to do what he needs to do, but holds back because of the other couple there, because Meadow's there. And here you see the difference between, and I'm glad you brought up him being a good mob guy. You see the difference between a Tony Soprano and a regular mob dude. Tony is all the way about this life. That's why he's the boss. He would have took that shot. I firmly believe that from watching this for 6 years and whatnot. That guy, that's the guy that snitches and moves to Maine and tries to do another life and realizes that I'm not as gangster as I suppose.
The Henry Hill.
Yeah, he that dude. I can go do book lectures and sell books and write screenplays. That's me, because I participated in this. However, I'm not, like I said, Tony would have did it, man. And Tony kind of mentions this later. He says, us wise guys, man, the con never stops.
Oh man, I can't wait till he get there. When he get there.
Here, I think they clearly expressed the difference between a Tony Soprano and just a normal run-of-the-mill lower tier mob guy like this dude.
Okay, well, two things. So, because as you're moving through, I think I'm missing some of my pieces with scenes. So the scene before, we gotta keep a chart here. This is Carmela's first confession here. So there's these opportunities that we're gonna see. Carmela, if you really want it, if you really yearn for something else, here's the opportunity. So this is the first confession, but we'll know later on that other one, like it was totally different. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of point that out. But Febby had to drop. So I wanted to ask, what's the proper way to do this? Like if Febby got the drop on him, he's with his daughter. You see the old people. Obviously, I imagine he's thinking, well, I can't cap him, because then the daughter, I'm gonna have to cap her too, because she's gonna look at where it came from, or she may just be there with him, and then I had to cap. So this one body can turn into four bodies. What would have been the proper way to do it? If we put ourselves in the mindset of a mob guy in the world of Sopranos, what should Febby have done to have got the W here?
He should have just waited. Just wait outside a little bit longer. Wait till she go to sleep. Wait till it die down. You know where he's at now. Yeah, he got the ups on him still. Like as soon as he come out the next time, it ain't gonna be with Meadow, and those people ain't gonna be there.
Yeah,
so that's when you take advantage of him. Just now, I got him. I think that him leaving at that point just shows his lack of for the game. He ain't got the game in him like Tony do.
Is he convinced at this
Tony
point?
Stuck it out.
Is he convinced at this point that, okay, Tony is following me? Because it's like they never really crossed paths, so it's still kind of, maybe that's a part of his thinking, like, I still don't really know. It looks like this guy is just here for his daughter on college. So he looks like a mob guy, but he looks like maybe he didn't see me. Maybe he's just here for, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like,
good point. Maybe he didn't think that. Maybe he's not familiar. Well, actually, no, he got to know who Tony is, right?
Well, I think that, but I think maybe he's thinking like, okay, he didn't really see me like that. Because remember when Tony was walking early, he kind of had his head down. And I mean, did he see him when he was driving fast, or like, I'm like, they never crossed paths, so we really don't know if Febby knows that he's
You're thinking that this guy thinking, am I paranoid or am I really being tailed? This is the dude.
Yeah, because it's like I seen that guy earlier, and my instincts are this, and he's probably done this, like you said, this is his lifestyle now. So he's probably done this a few times, but he goes around and he said, ain't nobody looking for you. So it's like, Okay.
That's an interesting dilemma because this is life or death for him, right? Like,
Facts.
even if I'm wrong or right, like, even if I'm wrong, well, excuse me, if I'm wrong, then he's gonna come probably kill me, as we saw.
Yeah.
However, if I'm protecting my family and my new lifestyle, I gotta skew to the side of, I figured that he has figured me out. I
Mm-hmm.
can't. The dogs was barking, like you said. There's way too many coincidences for me to think that this guy's just here with his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to go ahead and let him have it. Like, I couldn't think that maybe he is just here and this popular mafia guy is just, taking his daughter. Okay, that's cool, but unfortunately, you ran into me. So I think,
Okay. I like that.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just thought about it. I was like, maybe he really didn't, but yeah, we'll
Yeah,
get
and that's a good point because maybe he didn't. But you got to skew towards the
yeah,
side
you
of,
got to.
yeah, bro. Like,
He didn't have a chance
it's life
though.
or death.
Well,
He didn't.
well, I'll go into it later when he had talked to this little crew later. I'll kind of go into why I think he never had a chance. But
All right, AJ. From there, did you have anything else on it?
with Fabby getting the drop.
Yeah, anything about that whole scenario you just put together?
Uh, yeah, I agree. Just wait. I think just wait it out, or just Tony eventually comes back on the payphone. There it is. Boom, got him. That it. Spot him,
Right.
got him. Like, you know what I mean? So, but that's it. Yep.
All right. So Meadow wakes up out of her drunkenness, and again, if he had waited, he would have called him outside on the phone with Chris.
Mm-hmm.
The very next scene, but Meadow wakes up about this drunkenness. He's talking Chris out of catching the plane or coming up there. He's gonna do it himself. Tony's gonna take care of it, or he'll call Pussy or Paulie or one of those guys because he owes it to them because they snitched. The guy that snitched
Mm-hmm.
on one of their partners.
Well, did we do the communion scene or
remember you just
with the communion?
mm-hmm.
Well, that was after Febby got the communion.
Okay, he drops her off, and Father Phil tells Carmela to denounce her sins. I thought that's what you just was talking about, denouncing her sins.
No. So yeah, I think that was after the Febby scene. So we
I thought you went into that scene with the.
Oh no, that was
with the denouncing her sins.
Oh no, I was
going
back. Yeah, the scene before, but I was just gonna say with the communion. I like that.
Said, why do you have that with you?
Okay, this is why I'm gonna go back to what you just said before, but I think it's interesting. He has some tidbit advice that I thought was good. Now, it doesn't mean it would be effective. He says, okay, well, then you help Tony be a better man. You know what I'm saying? So I did like that advice. I mean, I think that was good. But this part, bro, he gets his kit. He's getting all extra, and she's like, bro, I promise you, bro, this feels very sacrilegious right now. I don't know if this is how they do it in Catholicism, but bro, this man standing above her, he puts the wire.
Yeah, I think this was definitely shot this way,
bro. But you see the fire in the background, bro. Like, I was like, oh yeah, look, and then they zoomed in on her lips drinking the cup. I was like, y'all are being weirdos right now. like y'all are being so weird, and so for me, that's why I'm glad we got here. So do you think that she was really like in that confessional bag? Like, okay, I'm vulnerable. I really do want to try to do the right thing. Or do you think she's in like some weird sexual space where I'm just, cause she's down on her knees, really focused on this cup, and he's looking down at her, and she sips the cup. So it's like this weird, I
think they tried to frame it sexually. So
okay.
We would think it would go either way.
Okay.
I'm not sure where her mind was. I think, actually, I think that she was with whatever at that point. She had gotten a call from Melfi, and again, it all falls back on the priest if he's going to make a move or not. I do think that the way that it was shot shows Carmela was game.
Oh, she was
game.
What was that he put in there with the wine? Was that vodka or tequila or something? Like he put a little extra, or was that holy water? I don't know. When he went in there,
I think it was a little holy water thing.
Okay, because I was sitting there like, because I thought, I promise you, bro, I thought that was like,
I don't know a lot about Catholicism either, so I don't know what the whole setup is.
I ain't seen the communion kits are a little different these days, but that's like one of those traditionals. But I don't know. I just never seen that before. Like that's before probably when I was a little boy. But I was just like the way he kind of splashed it and put an extra splash. I don't know if that's like a metaphor. Say you need some extra holiness, or you need some extra, or was it tequila or vodka? Like, because I still felt
that's the holy water. It's a part of it. I think. I'm not sure.
No, okay, because she's like, why do you have that? And then he's going on, and then the way he finished the drink, he gulps it all the way down. So it's still him trying to be lit on the priesthood moment. That's why I thought that, because I'm like, that's weird. He puts his hand on her head. Like, yeah, bro. I'm sorry. There's so much here, but we can keep it moving, bro. Sorry, man. It just
I just didn't have anything. You can keep going. I didn't have. I think that they shot it that way, trying to let us know it could go either way, sexually or the religious aspect of it.
I think the way he hugs her too, like that may be, it may be a little bit in the fanuke. Maybe a little fanukish right there, because I don't know if you noticed how he got down and he kind of, the way he does. I was like, or maybe it's like some pansexual. I don't know. This guy, we're gonna figure this out before it's over.
Yeah, but we'll figure it out before it's over.
But I think that's it. He gives her a hug, and I don't know. I mean, I used to be such a fan of Carmela, man. Like I wanted so much for her. Like I really did, bro. Like, and this was one of those moments.
Up, snuggle together. In the next scene, she crawls over him awkwardly. That's AJ calls. Yeah, this is AJ calling to say he's gonna be gone for the night. So you really think that there's an opportunity there, right?
Right. Well, wait, what scene are we on?
When he calls. So we get the confession.
Okay, right? Okay. Got you. All right.
We did a confession. She denounces her sins. They have a communion together. And Meadow wakes up. She's looking for Tony. Chris made the phone call to Tony. He tries to come up there. They confirm that it's the guy. He tries to come up there and do the hit. And then from there, we're at the back at Father Phil and Carmela, and AJ is giving the phone call saying, hey, I'm going to be gone all night. He got the green light.
So this is where Meadow really got on my nerves. This is what I was speaking to earlier.
Yeah.
Go to bed. You are drunk trying to ask me questions, telling me about you. You're not entitled to. We've already had a conversation. I told you kind of how I give it up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where, and I think maybe Tony has to really break that thing down. Like, don't ask no questions. Like he got to have a Carmela talk with Meadow, because she is doing too much. And this would have been a perfect opportunity. Febby would have had the crazy drop on Tony right here. Crazy drop, dog. Like boom. He out there talking to Chris. So, but yeah, back to the Father Phil and Carmela waking up next to each other.
Snuggled all up. AJ calls, and he gets sick, actually, from all, like you said, overindulgent. He's wine drunk. And he goes,
wine drunk is different.
Yeah, he wine drunk, and he going to throw all of that shit up. Really ruins Carmela's night, actually. She was having a good night up until that point, man. And he ruined it, goes in there and throw up in the bathroom. What did you think he was faking, or you think that was real? Where did you get with that? Do you think he felt like that he was too deep in and had to get a way out without doing anything inappropriate?
Oh, that's a good one.
Throwing up as I'm sick now.
Spike, hey, you came through with that one, because that is I the first time around, I thought he's faking it, because it seemed like they were getting real close, and I was like, okay, that's that bad boyfriend thing where you're gonna see how far it goes. And like, oh no, I'm good. I'm in a relationship. Like that. I did feel like he was doing that the first time I ever watched this. The second time I ever watched it, I definitely was like, okay, I think he's drunk. It's kind of convenient at the moment, because normally when you sleep, it sleeps off the drunkenness.
Yeah.
So that is
wake up, throwing up is nuts.
That's kind of weird. Yeah. Normally it kind of stifles that. But they have this moment, they're looking at each other. He's looking at her lipstick. They really, it looks like it's about to go there. And in the midst of that, but you said you think it turned, I don't know, because he's walking off and he's grabbing his head. And he's falling everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah, he full of shit, man.
You think so?
Bleach. Yeah, he full of shit.
He need a reason to go back home, or
he's just trying to get out of it. He don't want to make. He want to make sure anything doesn't happen. So
okay,
he's
so
full of shit.
I'm just here for your wine. I'm here for your television,
eat, drink, watch TV,
and then we're gonna shut it off.
Live lavish, absolutely. I don't want you to think too much,
because I got to question my morals if I take it past those things.
Now, exactly. Now I got to question myself as a priest. I don't want to do that,
because now I'm still good. You know what I mean?
Right.
We just had communion.
Yeah. And as he goes to throw up, Carmela does a check-in call, calls Tony's room, see who's there, see what's going on, and hangs up. Do you think that reassured her in any way?
No. And you know, it's funny. I didn't realize, but if you know, they're chopping back and forth the scenes, but they're like actually correlating the pieces. Like Meadow woke up, and then Carmela and them woke up, and then they'll get them on the phone. Then they'll get them on the phone. So they're doing this weird thing with the telephone is like the connective tissue for the whole episode.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think it was reassuring. I mean, I don't know what she was looking for. Like, you out here with Father Phil, I guess what the reality set in at that moment, like, oh, I married, or like,
I guess she wanted to make sure Tony was telling the truth about, because she had gotten a call from Dr. Melfi. She probably thought Dr. Melfi was someone else and wanted to make sure that he wasn't up there. Some woman answers the phone, or he make sure that he actually answers the phone, went out at night or something after Meadow went to sleep or some shit like that. I think that's what that was for. Okay. And I think it did reassure her son, which is why she probably doesn't feel as bad about the Dr. Phil shit. Oh, excuse me, Priest Phil. From there, we got the guy watching Tony and Meadow the next morning still. He's still out there. He's still out there watching. He never did anything. I guess he's just trying to get intel because he never really acts on any of the information. I feel like you said he would have had the perfect drop previously that night had he been out there all night, or maybe he came back the next morning. They weren't clear about that. Yeah. Tony drops Meadow off and speeds away.
Well, I want to say before that, there's this interesting thing they do with the camera. So the camera starts off blurry, and then it comes into focus. Which is very interesting because it's giving you the effect of what Meadow is feeling. Like she just woke up, she's rubbing her eyes. So how you wake up with a blurry vision and then it's open and now you can see clear, you know. And so Febby had to drop, but I thought it was just a funny thing that Tony, first off, they got so many bags for one day, which is crazy. Secondly, Tony,
no, they've been on the road trip for a minute.
Oh, how
they hit like 3 colleges.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah, they went to 3 different colleges. Because as they were leaving out that first one, and when they saw dude, remember they were headed to another one, and the sign was saying it was going one way.
Oh, Kobe College.
The other way.
Yeah,
he had like 3 different ones.
So
this was a road trip. This was a weekend road trip, I think.
Oh, okay. All right,
yeah.
All right. But it was funny. He just kind of bopped her in the head. Bopped her in the head, just being like a dad, like treating her like a tomboy. Yeah. I love that relationship. But yeah, anyway.
From there, we go to Father Phil back at the Soprano home, and he wakes up to a fairly irritated Carmela.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on her irritation in this scene?
Yeah, she was irritated. Hold on. There was something else. I'm sorry. Did you notice that Tony was driving Carmela's car this whole episode?
No.
I meant to tell you that. I was like, bro, why is he driving Carmela's car? He's not driving the GMC. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, he's driving Carmela's car. Like I that was just an interesting little detail. But I think that Carmela's she's a tough chick. Let's be clear, like with everything. She's a tough chick. I think that there's a feeling of not wanting to be wanted or desired or misreading it or being rejected. A few of these things might run through her head or misreading it. But I think at the end of the day, I got to go in order to comfort myself in moving forward with, first off, I'm glad I didn't make a mistake. Second off, I got to keep myself in check. I am married to a mob boss. And thirdly, I don't want to feel like I'm not desirable. So I got to get my hard exterior back and get back to business as usual. So even if I feel these things, who cares? We're just friends, right? So I think there's a lot there in trying to get yourself prepared. You know, the morning time provides such clarity. I mean, at nighttime, you could do so many different things. Remember, don't remember. But that morning time provides such a clarity and a clear mind that I think that she's had that time. She's clearly been up. He's just now getting up, got the dirty T-shirt on, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think she was clearly irritated with him in this scene. I think that it didn't go the way that she wanted it to, or he didn't even give her the opportunity to say no, to like kind of say, hey, you're going too far with it. He just kind of, again, this is when it hit her that, oh, this motherfucker's a leech, as I've been saying the whole episode, I think. As she wakes up, gets that morning clarity, like you said, it's like, oh, okay, now I see this dude's true personality. He's just like wanting to be around, soak up this lifestyle without having to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what irritates her the most. That she finally realizes what he is truly, and how he's manipulating his position to get the things he wants from her.
Mm-hmm. And she says an interesting line about, out of all of the Fanuc priests, why did mine have to be straight? That's funny.
That's what she said.
Yeah,
I missed that. All the Fanuc priests, why did mine have to be straight?
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. And it doesn't confirm anything, but it leads us to believe that, okay, he is a straight guy. But you see him when later on, you see him interacting with other women, but it doesn't quite.
He leeching off them too, I think.
Yeah, he leeching off them too. So it still
graduated to another leech. Yeah, he just Carmela's over my game, so I'm gonna leech off these ladies now.
I might have to go on one of these Soprano theory pages, see if somebody can like get the drop on that, man.
That's funny. All right. So the rat is back, and he got cahoots with some meth heads that he served drugs to, and trying to get them to team up with him to go after Tony. They are clearly not up for it. They're not a part of the mafia lifestyle, and they leave him hanging.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get anything from this scene as far as him trying to recruit people, him finally realizing that Tony's going to be a problem for him?
Well, you can definitely see, like, even though they're not, these are super unqualified people to be a part of this operation. I can see the remnants of, okay, in the past life before being a snitch, she had a crew. I'm looking at more of trying to pick up the historical references within his character. So I'm like, okay, I can see him. Normally, this is how he runs his operation. I need this, I need that, I'm doing this, but it shows it's like, bro, when you're not a part of the family, you don't have these privileges. You're just a civilian. You can't threaten. You have really no power because you're not a part of this thing of ours. So he's trying to, like you said, recruit meth heads. He's in this small little place in a cabin. He has zero power, dude. Like it's just crazy to me. But I can see how he probably was once, one of those guys. Probably maybe even a capo. Like, I don't know. I might have to go back to the conversation Tony had with Chris about how good he was, because he spoke about that before him turning snitch.
He did, absolutely. Next, finally, in suspenseful fashion, Tony catches him and does his Tony Soprano thing with them. One of the lines that I thought was dope in this episode, again, as the wise guy tells him, "Hey man, I saw you last night. I could have took you out then, spared you, whatever it may be." Tony thinks about it. Maybe in a moment, thinks about giving him some gratitude, but nah. He instantly catches himself, and we remember why Tony Soprano was a fucking gangster. And he tells him, one thing about us wise guys, the hustle never ends, as he continues to choke him out with the wire that he found outside of the trailer. What'd you take from this, Mo?
Before I say what I take from this, I gotta say first off, I'm not gonna talk about how pivotal. Well, this episode is pivotal, and I want to talk more about that at our ranking at the end. But there is a little excerpt I wanted to put right here because of this scene. Chris Alberic was one of the HBO executives who believed audiences would not be willing to watch a TV show in which the hero was a cold-blooded murderer. But Albrecht, I think that's how you say it, had a lot of faith in the talent and the judgment of David Chase. So Albrecht recounts, he says, "I said, David, you can't do this. He can't kill this guy. You haven't earned it yet." Mind you, this is episode 5 of the first season. "The audience is going to hate him. It's the 5th episode. Wait until the end of the season." And David said to him, "If Tony Soprano were to find this guy and doesn't kill him, he is full of and therefore the show is full of it." And I said, okay, that's a good point. So I wanted to say this scene was super pivotal to the show of Sopranos, and I'll talk a little bit more about this episode overall in the ranking of this season and overall of the whole series. But yeah, Tony, like, he called him Teddy. Like, so he really didn't know him like that. Tony might have been one of those guys coming up, like, he might have been in Chris' position at the time when Febby was, maybe a capo. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't really know him like that. He probably was one of those people. But I like that Febby. He has no real way out. Like, he trying to talk with him, but Tony is like putting everything into this choke. Like, oh my gosh. So look, even Tony, like, there's this moment, and I will go on, but this is like one of those scenes. He says, "I saw your daughter. I was there. She was drunk." And Tony has a moment where you could tell he's processing it. But he's processing the two parts of the family, I feel like, right here. My family, as far as my daughter, like, I did put my daughter in danger. That never resonated to me. I'm thinking whenever I'm out and about, that's when I'm in danger. But when I'm at the hotel, I'm safe. You don't realize you were in danger the entire time. So the moment Febby drops the bomb and says, "Hey, I saw you last night. I had you." You know what I'm saying? You were with your daughter. She was drunk. Tony looks up and looks around for a second. You know what I'm saying? He said, "I had a gun, but I didn't do it." So he's pondering that part of his family. He's like, dang, I put my daughter in danger. But then on the other side of the family, the mafia family, he's like, "Hey, look." He said one thing, like you said, one thing about these wise guys, the hustle never ends. And he says, "You shot me at the motel, your life would have been flushed down the Pishadoo." So it didn't matter. He's saying, bro, it didn't matter. Once I had you, I had you. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't get you and they found out I was gone, you still were done. You can't. The only way you leave this thing of ours is in a box or in prison. Like, there's no room for snitches. There's no normalcy. You took an oath. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just thought that was so funny when he told him that. Like, man, you would have been in a pitch or do anyway. And then he lifts him off his feet, bro.
Yeah.
Woo. James Gandolfini, man.
I think that to your point about the HBO executive, also in the book Difficult Men, about this show, this is the biggest turning point in the series. David Chase says this is when the quote unquote anti-hero was born. This is where you get the Walter Whites and you get all of these other characters based in Tony's light, as far as, yeah, I can kill a man in cold blood and you can still root for me for 5 seasons. Like that's happening now. We're here in TV. And before that moment, they're speaking to in the book, like you just said, the executives, everybody in the building being like, nah, that ain't gonna work, boss. We got to have someone we can root for. And David Chase sticking to his guns and being like, yeah, people are fucked up. They're gonna root for this dude. And it worked. This is from this point, the series turned around. They started getting more and more viewers. The scuttlebutt around town started to definitely pick up. So it worked for David Chase.
Man, I'll speak. This scene, I'd imagine this scene is probably going to be the scene stiller of, when we get to the end, and I'll talk more about it there. But yeah.
All right. So from there, that happens. The chase back and forth ends. Everything kind of wraps up. Tony goes to pick up Meadow. Says he left his watch at the restaurant. She gives him the 3rd degree. She knows and smells the bullshit. She sees the cut on his hands. She sees the mud on his shoes. She asked about the guy that they seen at the payphone, or whenever they were at the gas station. For me, this wraps up Meadow's conclusion from the start to the finish of, and it was great by David Chase. We start, like you said, with that question, Dad, are you in the mafia? And he talks in circles around, maybe, maybe not. However, because Meadow is a very smart character, very astute, we get to see her come to the realization throughout the whole episode, and it finally hitting her at the very end as she takes inventory of the cut hand, the muddy shoes, being on the phone, just a spotty behavior, and she doesn't acknowledge it. Nothing has to be said, but David Chase did a brilliant job of, yes,
Yep.
Yes, I definitely am in the mafia.
Mm-hmm.
And you can believe whatever you want to believe. I'm never going to clearly tell you this, but if you're paying attention, you know what
Mm-hmm.
this is.
Yes.
And that was a great conclusion to that question.
Yes. Good callback. And there's something the scene before, just a small thing after the chokeout before picking Meadow up. You notice, you hear the ducks?
Mm-hmm.
The ducks was going crazy. So the ducks is still significant. I think that at that point, it's almost like Tony has made the decision to be okay with, okay, my families are starting to become merged together. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this literally, like the dude, like I talked about Febby, acknowledging that and Tony not realizing he was in danger the whole time. And I like exactly how you concluded it. Her having that pause moment and making that conclusion where you're like, you know what? I'm going to stop asking questions and just trust my dad. Like, I love him enough. Because it's not going to change her opinion of him because she already knows. Like, she's asking more, but I don't think that she's going to stop loving him or hating him or start hating him because this is who you are. This is where we're at. You know what I mean? So I love that pause, like, and I ain't trying to, I don't want to dog Tyler Perry here, but these are realistic dialogues, brother. Like, this is realistic. Not having to say
When Tyler
something.
Perry come in?
Just a show I've watched of his, and I just like it's.
That was your first mistake. Watching his show.
No, first mistake is not supporting black. All right, that's first.
All right.
Nah,
Touche.
but just this, or even just young up and coming writers. This is being able to say something without saying something. That's, I feel like, true writing. So this scene right there, this is wonderful.
I agree. I think she says with the silence, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got it. I won't ask you about it again.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So yeah, I do. From there, Meadow drops off. She's being dropped off to visit the advisor.
Mm-hmm.
Again, she's come to that conclusion. Tony and Meadow make it back to the crib. He pulls up in his truck, bro. Maybe it was a rental car.
Hold on. You skipped a whole pivotal part, bro.
What's that?
The part where they pan to the sign above the door.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "No man can wear one face to himself and another to the multitude without finally getting bewildered as to which may be true." I don't know how they found this, if it was already there, if it's prop, whatever, but this is literally Tony wearing one face to himself, what he believes, and another to the multitude, to his family, this thing of ours. He says he'll get bewildered as to which may be true, to the point you don't know really who you are. And that, by Hawthorne, whoever Hawthorne is, that's at the bottom of it. But that was so pivotal. That's why this episode is the most pivotal episode of the whole series, is because all of this, they didn't waste anything here. Like, this part is like it could be served as a throwaway, but like when you're like we're doing, breaking it down, like this thing, I feel like this concluded everything. You're literally just murdered somebody and dropped your daughter off. So
it's
but
the
yeah,
life of Tony Soprano.
yeah. So I just wanted to tie that part because I had that in there and I was like, yo, this sign was really, really good.
That is a good pickup. That 100% is a good pickup. I'm not even sure if I picked up on it or seen that.
Well, when he's sitting in the lobby for a second before they roll out, yeah, and some dude walks by and just says, he's our most famous alumnus. I guess the Hawthorne guy that wrote that. So
you don't know who they're referring to.
What, I don't know what, something Hawthorne, but it doesn't have a first name on it. It just says Hawthorne, and he said he's our most famous alumnus. The guy, the kid that walks by with the headphones.
Okay, people that are listening to you that are big on literature are like screaming at you. For
man,
this Hawthorne guy. It's Nathaniel Hawthorne. Is a very famous poet.
Why you sit there? Why you do that? Why you gotta be out here looking bad, man? You supposed to be my
I was just letting you finish.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I didn't know if you were actually. I didn't know if you were serious. I thought you were saying that in juxtapose, like he's not that famous or relevant to me. I didn't know you were actually saying like you didn't know who Nathaniel. You've heard of the Scarlet Letter, right?
Yeah, I heard of it. Yeah,
he wrote that book.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know. I only know a few authors. I know like childhood authors.
He's one of them.
Judy Blume, R.L.
If you
Stein.
only know a few, he's one of the ones. And I think that was the first novel that we read in like grade school or something, The Scarlet Letter.
Yeah, I
But
did
yeah,
some
he's
graphics
from Salem,
on that.
Massachusetts. Yeah, he was
Ah,
up
okay.
in that area, so that's why the guy says he's our most famous alum. But yeah, Nathaniel Hawthorne, very famous,
Hold on. You're
very,
right.
very, very,
Why?
very
How did
famous.
Tony pull up?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say at the end. I
Oh,
was going to ask you about I think they went in a rental car. They may have
yeah.
been in a rental car.
You think so? I mean,
Yeah, they probably
that's the only
rented a
thing that
car.
makes sense. But I think Carmela has that car though. Like that's the car she
Now she
had
got the
before.
Benz station wagon, don't she?
Oh, that might have been later down the road. See,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
might have been
yeah,
later down the road. Dang, because I was like,
yeah.
yo, that's crazy. Hey man, look, y'all, flood us on Good Earner Pod on Instagram. Like flood us, correct us, whatever. Like we here for all of the smoke. We here for the conversations, man. Educate these young brothers over here, man.
Yes, and lastly, this probably is the best scene of the episode. Is Tony and Carmela play
Oh,
chess in the kitchen.
relax, bro. The
This
best
is
scene.
to yeah, this was chess. This was if you didn't think that Carmela was a liable foe for Tony, this is where she shows you that she is. She doesn't hit him with the Dr. Melfi information right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
She sets it up perfectly. Oh, yeah, the priest stay here. Yep. Oh, ain't no more ZD. Nah, ain't no more. I know you're gonna be mad about all of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was here overnight. Oh, AJ, he was gone. Yeah, all of this. Mm-hmm. Yep. Eat the cold meat out of the fridge. Oh, yeah, your doctor called. She now you got him. This was great because
Mm-hmm.
Tony, the whole time, snarky Tony, got the moxie, and like I know I'm in the right here. He calls the priest a fanute, like he on his high horse. Like there's no way that anything is gonna come out bad for me in this interaction, and he's feeling himself. And Carmela just lures him in. She's like, yeah, okay, yeah. She does the woman thing that women do to us. Like we feel like we're so dumb that we think that we be out in front of it and they already got us figured out.
Boy.
And this was great, man. I love this because she is one of the few people in this world that could do this to Tony
Well, yeah.
without any direct repercussions, one. And that has that much insight into the real Tony Soprano, not the face, not the clown
Yeah.
face
Yeah.
that he puts on when he goes out, that she could be able to have this chess match conversation with him. I love this scene.
Yeah. I
This
think
is what Carmela is her strongest.
it is her strongest. She is a worthy foe, and we get a lot of that. And he's saying he was talking about he slips you away for that scene. And she says that's verging on sacrilege.
Exactly.
And then he says, "Oh, don't mean to verge." Like I almost feel like there's like a taste of like virgin Mary, him maybe being a virgin. Like I think all all that like type of I think there was something there intentional about the writing, but Carmela got lucky, bro. She got so lucky because what does she have if Melfi doesn't call? What does she have?
All the
Nothing but
greatness is luck, man.
that's boy.
Like luck
Because
play.
look, boy. Because look, what do you say? Oh yeah, the priest was over. Oh yeah, this that. And then you ended like yeah, nothing happened. He stayed the night, and you have nothing to like come back with the hook or the uppercut. Oh my God, he gonna man, come on, dog. Like she got lucky, dog.
Right
Yeah, she
boy.
got him though,
Like,
but she got him. But I just thought that was funny.
It was, and that's where we end. That's where we end the episode. Tony is trying to explain why he never told Carmela that his doctor was a woman, Dr. Melfi. Take us into the ratings and the wrap ups, Mo.
Okay.
Before, I mean, what did you have to say, man?
To wrap it up, this funny thing they do right here, just very last tidbit. Carmela walks off, and then Tony goes, and he almost kind of slips and fall. This feels very Flintstone like. Like I promise you, I don't know if that was intentional, but he goes. It's almost like Wilma. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of thing where it's like because he kind of almost falls, and then they make it so normal. Like this is the life of Tony Soprano. You know, we just watched a gruesome murder. You know what I'm saying? And then we see this, and this is the life of Tony Soprano. So as we come here at our the end of our episodes, we like to have a ranking system here. The first thing we like to do is we like to rate the episode. So the the episode that if it's exceptional, this is a made episode. That means there's no flaw. You can't. It's untouchable. If it was a great to good episode, it's a good earner. You know, that's what we give it. But if it was like a cool episode, it was all right. because there's no bad episodes in Sopranos, then it's just another envelope. So Spike, what's your ranking for season 1, episode 5, College?
For me, this was a made episode. And that's saying a lot because and it took me listening to this book, doing more research, watching this several times over to consider this a made episode because of the importance that it plays in the series. And finally, it kind of shows that other side of Tony, the family side and the mafia family side. Mm-hmm. That's when you have a great juxtaposition of those two things here. The reason that it's a made episode for me is there are 4 people in this episode, like Meadow, Tony, Carm, and Father Phil, primarily. Like that's it. Mm-hmm. Usually I enjoy the crew aspect of having the guys around and just Tony being out in the world, experiencing different things, the mundaneness, I guess, of the mafia lifestyle of a capo. Mm-hmm. But this one was different in the sense of it really peeled back the layers, added extra layers to what we were going to be dealing with for the next 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. So this is a very pivotal. This is one of, in my opinion,
7.
One of the 7, however. This is one of the cornerstone episodes.
Yeah.
As far as a pillar of what everything is built on. So that's why it's a made episode for me.
It's a made episode for me too. If y'all didn't know, like you would be nuts if you feel like this is not a made episode, man. Y'all DM us on Good Earner Pod on Instagram, man. Or leave a comment here on Apple. But it's a made episode, like you said, everything for all the reasons Spike said. But for me, even then, like when I was first watching it, I did not get the allure of the show when I first watched it until I got to this episode. And then from that point on, I was tapped all the way in. I was like, oh, I know what's going on now. Because you go back to the pilot and it's kind of wonky and funny when they're doing violence. Even when Chris shoots the guy in the butcher shop, it's still like done so artsy, you don't take it serious. But right here on College, that gruesome choking a man out, lifting him off his feet, that right there, like made this episode made for me. So this is hands down a made episode, the most pivotal episode in this space and genre. So I wanted to ask Spike, another one of our things, broken balls. Who took the biggest L of the episode? Now, we already know the death is always the biggest L, but if we were to go past that,
who would you excluding the dude?
Yeah, we can exclude Febby. Like, that's kind of a given,
Excluding him, I would have to go with Carmela. In the sense of she walked away the most frustrated with how things are.
Okay.
The priest satisfied with the TV, the ZD, and living off of them without having to do anything. Meadow gets her question satisfied by just observing, being able to see her dad in action. Mm-hmm. Tony gets satisfied by not having to verbally tell Meadow, but her coming to an understanding of what her dad is without him having to overtly say, hey, I'm a gangster. Mm-hmm. Carmelo's a loser because she never gets any satisfaction. She's not satisfied with finding out that Tony's therapist is a woman. She's not satisfied by the priest, figuratively or literally. Mm-hmm. She's not satisfied that just from any aspect of anything that happened, she was the one left outside. Like, this is where I am with it. Like, God damn, everybody getting some with me. So I would have Carmela as my biggest loser. Who you got?
So my person that gets the broken balls, the ball buster, Big L. I go Father Phil. I almost went Christopher because Christopher, this probably could have got a made.
Because of the no umbrella?
No umbrella. You got broken balls. Nah, because I was gonna go Chris because this was an opportunity. He was like, come on, let me get down there and let me get him. If I can get an old school snitch like this for sure will get me made. But I'm going Father Phil because the relationship is never the same after this. The finesse is fully on display now. So he'll never be able, because the jig is up. He couldn't figure out where to go to keep this thing going. he had too much time with Carmela at the wrong time, and now the shuck is up. You know what I'm saying? Because even we got up the awkwardness there, and she's playing it off, and I think he knows that she's playing it off, but he's just trying to kind of get out of there because I feel like he knows the finesse is over. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like he probably got the broken balls of this episode for me because he'll no longer. We'll see later on. He's like, well, are you staying or eating or not? Because I need to know because I'm making these stakes. You know what I'm saying? So her whole demeanor with him, I feel like changes from that point. So, and she was the key to getting all of the finessing that he was getting off.
Yes.
And lastly, who? Well, not lastly, but the MVP of this episode. Do we?
Tony.
And Tony, yeah, Tony,
Yeah, definitely Tony.
Tony, yeah, for sure.
Low hanging fruit because
It,
he was
it,
able to get off what he needed to get off and got
yeah.
the kill that he needed. Didn't have to be open with Meadow, even though he took an L on that last conversation with Carmela. Ultimately, no fruit bears from it. Who cares that Dr. Melfi's a woman? So, and he lies all the time. So
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't anything new. Yeah, he got that off.
Is that runner up? Close second?
Meadow.
Meadow. Okay, cool. I'm with you.
I think Meadow being able to observe her dad and again, not freaking out. When she does come to the understanding of, you know, he can't really be like, yes, I'm in the mafia to me because of how that would incriminate me, but just her coming to the understanding of how they left it and how it has to be.
I agree with you. And I think that she goes from checking out, hearing rumors in her school, checking out this mafia's website to getting the answers she need on her college trip. Talk about, you know, being steady. So as we close here, is there any moment that you feel is like the flyest moment, the funniest moment, the freshest moment, you know, any moment that stood out the most for you in this episode, Spike?
The moment of the episode was definitely the last scene for me. Carmela and Tony playing chess. And Tony playing checkers and Carmela playing chess.
Yeah.
That was the last scene most definitely.
Okay. I agree. You know, the more you're saying is kind of bring me that way because our normal reaction would be like, of course, when you choke Febby out, but I think as pivotal as that was, and to bring it to the last scene is not, it may not supposed to be as pivotal as we make it in the eyes of Tony, because this is just another day. You know what I mean? So, but I am of course going to have to go with the Febby being choked. I mean that the way the acting there, the feet, him lifting his feet up like that. Yeah, it was good acting, spitting, all that. So
yeah.
But yeah, that is our episode. This is another episode of Good Earners. You can find us on Instagram, Good Earner Pod. You can find us now. Y'all check out those memes, man. Check out, you know, DM us questions about the show, questions about us within regards of this show. Y'all can also email us, goodearnerpod@gmail.com. You know, so we are able to be touched and reached here. Man, we love doing this. This is another episode of Good Earners.
We out.